Dear students, welcome to session number 57 of the auditing subject BBA 6th semester. In this session, we'll be learning more on liabilities of auditor, which is in continuation of the previous two sessions. We have understood that the auditor is performing a very important and a responsible job. His responsibility is to protect the interests of the stakeholders, interests of the owners, interests of the company. And in this regard, he is supposed to apply due care and apply adequate skills, his knowledge, and try to form an expert opinion on the financial statements. During his duty, he is liable to, he is supposed to perform certain statutory obligations, certain contractual obligations. Failing to perform may failing to perform the same may draw on certain liabilities. So we have understood in the previous classes there are certain statutory liabilities, that is the liabilities of the auditor under the acts, that is Companies Act 2013, which is broadly classified into civil and criminal liability and liabilities for professional misconduct. Civil liabilities have been classified into liability for negligence and liabilities for misfeasance. Liability of negligence means breach of duty, whereas liability for misfeasance comes for breach of trust, generally which can be instituted by the liquidator or the creditor or a contributory of the company. We have also understood how certain case laws are in support of this particular um, liabilities. Further, we learned about certain criminal liabilities which arises due to the errors in the performance of the audit duties involving criminal neglect or actual fraud or conspiracy in which intention to do what is known as illegal is an essential element. Knowing certain things to be illegal or criminal, neglecting it or committing actual fraud uh, is not a feature of the auditor. If he does so, then he will be held guilty of misconduct. The criminal liabilities of an auditor may be grouped into the liabilities under Companies Act and the liabilities under Indian Penal Code. Again, the detail of which we have learned in the previous classes. Also, we understood about the contractual liabilities arising in case of failure to fulfill the contractual obligations. In this class today, we will be going through liability towards third parties. What is a liability? We have understood. Now, who is a third party? Third party are those persons who rely on the financial statements audited by the auditor and enter into transactions with the company without further inquiry. For example, creditors, shareholders, not prospective shareholders, I won't say current shareholders, prospective shareholders, tax authorities, bankers, such other people who are not actually the party to the contract for audit, but they will rely on the information which is presented in the financial statements, which have been authorized, which have been audited by the auditor, and which are deemed to be showing the true and fair view of the financial positions. Now, because of their reliance on these transactions, they will enter into transaction with the company. Maybe let us take creditors will rely on the financial statements and decide upon their credit worthiness, that the customer is more credit worthy. He has a better debt equity ratio, or he has better cash turnover. That means I'll get my payment early. Or a banker may be giving the loans which have been sanctioned by the bank authorities based upon the financial statements. So they will service their debt properly. They will be able to pay the interest properly. This is what is determined by the bank authorities looking into the financial statements. Similarly, tax authorities, they will be relying on these audited statements for computation of taxable income, for deductions with respect to these incomes, and finally arrive at the tax liability. So the tax authorities who are representing the central government's revenue collection, they will rely on these particular documents. In case if the auditor has misstated the income, then the loss is for the treasury. So there is a loss to the exchequer and the tax authorities, though they are not in uh, contractual obligation, though the auditor is not in contractual obligation with the tax authorities, he will be liable to the third parties. Then the prospective shareholders, the current shareholders are the mm, uh, claimant or a contractee, we can say, because they are the ones uh, who are um, who are addressed by the auditor. But what about future shareholders? That is, those shareholders who are watching out for the company's information and deciding upon whether they have to invest in this company or not. So they would be looking for the information related to their returns on investment, which has been given by the organization previously, dividends given away by the company, their PE ratio, dividend payout ratio, the sales turnover which has been predicted or which has been already achieved. So this trend analysis they will be doing, or they'll be doing some fundamental analysis and technical analysis using the information given by the financial statement. These financial statements are trusted because auditor has audited them already, due to which the responsibility of the auditor increases. Though he is not into direct contract with these people, they are it is understood, it has to be understood by the auditor that they are the foreseeable users of this information, and hence he is liable to them. Now, if these parties suffer any loss by relying upon any balance sheet or any statement which is signed by him, then he will be liable for damages to these third parties. The auditors are relied upon because a professional qualified personnel is verifying this document, and hence it is presumed that the documents are free from errors and free from fraudulent statements. So the auditor cannot argue that he was not appointed by the third party, so he is not answerable to them. No, it is understood that the information which is certified by him is going to be used by the third parties. Hence, he cannot deny the responsibilities to the third parties. So there are two liabilities again we can hold: liability for negligence and liability for fraud. So liability for negligence and liability of fraud, we will learn more in detail on these aspects. Now, what is liability of negligence to a third party? As we have understood, several persons like creditors, bankers, debenture holders, prospective shareholders, income tax authority take the advantage of the audited accounts. The question arises whether the auditor can be held responsible for the damages incurred to these parties on relying on balance sheet and other statements. Under the common law, an auditor can be held liable only to those to whom he has contractual liability and relationship. So, does the common law apply to an auditor and prevent him from answering to the third parties? The answer is no. Here, there is no question of privity of contract in this case, because at the time of the at the time of audit, he is ought to know that the information once he certifies is going to be used by several parties, and this information has to be carefully devised and carefully verified. And even though there is no contract between him and the third parties, he will still be liable for negligence of his duties to the third parties. This particular case was upheld by him in the legal decisions. In case of an Indian case is given here, Commissioner of Income Tax of Madras versus GM Dandekar, where it was held that the auditor owed no duty to the income tax department since he was not employed by it, and there was no negligence involved. So here, there is the case was held in the favor of the particular auditor, as it was a case of no as there was no privity of contract between the auditor and the third parties, as he owed nothing to them. Similar case was held in case of similar thing was held in case of a British case where Candler versus Crane, Christmas and Company, as there was no contractual or judicial relationship between the parties, the plaintiff need not maintain could not maintain an action for negligence against the defendant. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಅಬ್ಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಆಡಿಟರ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಚುಲ್ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರೇಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಓವರ್ ಎ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಕೇಸ್. These are old cases where now it is there is a change in the opinion of the courts regarding the liability of an auditor to the third parties. Recently, there has been some changes, whereas in case of in India, the liability of an auditor to third party for negligence is now recognized under Companies Act, which makes the auditor liable for damages to third parties also. In India, now the liabilities of to the third party have been recognized. So now there is no question of escaping from the responsibility by an auditor towards third parties. But to make an auditor responsible or liable to third parties, the following points should be satisfied. First of all, the auditor statement was untrue. At the time of making the auditor knew the statement was untrue, and auditor had all the evidence to all the evidence or all the information which proved that the statement what he is making is untrue. Number one. Number two, auditor and the third party consciously are ignorant about the untrue statement. At the time of making the particular statement, they are ignorant that they are making an untrue statement. The third party is ignorant about the untrue statement, that there is a possibility that the statement made may be untrue. Then the third one is the statement was made with an intention of inducing the third party to act on it, and they did act on reliance of it. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ದೇಶಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಈ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದಲೇ ಆ ತಪ್ಪಾದ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಅನ್ಟ್ರೂ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನುವುದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸಫರ್ಡ್ ಎ ಲಾಸ್. And they actually suffered it. Only loss suffer ಆಗಿದೆ. So negligence without loss and the loss without negligence is not answerable. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ we should mention that the auditor is not going to be liable ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆನ್ಸು ಇದ್ದು ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿಯು ಲಾಸು ಆದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಡಿಟರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆಡಿಟರನ್ನು ನಾವು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜಸ್ಗೆ ಒಳಪಡಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ the auditor has to be very careful. He should exercise his due skills and care in giving the information to another person to whom he has under no contractual obligation to do so. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಅಬ್ಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ he has to apply, when he is doing his job, he has to apply due care and skill, and the information what he gives, whether it is to the client or whether it is somebody, it should be fraud free and error free. This is his responsibility. If the auditor fails to do so and the person relying upon the information suffers any financial loss, the auditor will be held liable for damages unless at the time of giving the information the auditor disclaims his responsibility. Let us take in case of petty cash, there is a provision. So in case of petty cash, the auditor feels that the internal check system is not working good, and he is suspicious about the physical cash which is retained. He goes for physical verification, but he is not satisfied with the content. Then he may disown his responsibility anta ide. He can disown his responsibility in terms of petty cash, because first of all it is very much vulnerable for fraud, and he can disown. So the auditor can absolve himself at the time of the audit itself that yes, this information is given subject to the reports given by such and such authority, but I have found these are the errors which I have which have been highlighted here. I disown this responsibility. Or he may give a note, information with the caution. He may disclaim that he cannot be held responsible in certain cases. He can disclaim his responsibility in certain cases. Then comes the liability for frauds. the third parties can hold the auditor liable for if there is any fraud on the part of the auditor, even if there is no contractual relationship between the auditor and the third party. The question arises generally if the auditors are responsible to the third parties at all. First of all, we should understand that if there is any part of any fraud on the part of the auditor, then definitely the third parties can hold the auditor liable, no doubt about it. The third parties can sue the auditor if the report of the auditor is of such nature that the amount the statements amount to fraud, then even if there is no contractual obligation between the auditor and the third parties, the auditor can be held responsible. In case of a case, okay, in case of Dairy versus Peak and Re Liverpool and Wagon Supply Association, these cases were upheld. As decided in Dairy versus Peak, the auditor can be held liable to the third parties only when the following facts are proved against him. That is, the statement of the balance sheet signed by the auditor was materially untrue. The auditor knew that the statement of the balance sheet was untrue, or he was consciously ignorant whether it is true or not. The statement was made with the intention to inducing the third party to act upon it, and the third party, on acting upon such statement, has suffered a loss, and auditor gave his consent to the inclusion of such statement in the prospectus. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡಿಟರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನುವ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ knowingly include madidre, then he will be held responsible. So this is what was decided in Dairy versus Peak. So there's a spelling mistake here. This should be Dairy, not deny. Dairy versus Peak case. It was held so. Then auditor's liability for libel, it happens when an auditor in the course of his duties in his audit report finds it necessary to criticize the actions of officers of a company. He should submit his report in such manner that it may not result in exposing him to action on grounds of defamation. ತಾನು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಈ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್. ಮಾನನಷ್ಟ ಮೊಕದ್ದಮೆಯನ್ನು ಹೂಡುವ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ನ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತಪ್ಪುಗಳನ್ನ ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್. ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಸಚ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಡ್ರಾ defamation case on him. Audit report is a privileged document, so it should not result in liability for libel. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ misstatement of facts ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. Facts ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it should be a fact and it should not be mere result of thought, and it should not malign somebody. So you are highlighting the mistake or the error, but not as an auditor you are not should not personally take it on somebody. It should be only in the interest of the company and not to malign an individual, and the statement made must be bona fide. It should be real. So these are few of the liabilities which are applicable, liabilities on the auditor during the performances duties. So we should be, as an auditor should be very careful about exercising his options, exercising his audit knowledge, and getting the work done. And he should be well aware about his statutory obligations, liabilities, then contractual liabilities to third parties, as well as liabilities under common law. This will help him prevent himself from unnecessary, unprecedented actions brought against on him by third parties or by the client. which may cause him unnecessary pain or unnecessary loss of public image. So this has to be kept in mind by the auditor before he performs the job. With that, we wind up this session. See you in the next session. Thank you.